Arsenal are looking to complete a big overhaul this summer with Champions League football pending, with Declan Rice and Caicedo being top of the wish list. And the Gooners believe they will beat Chelsea to the signing, £80 million signing of Declan Rice. We're going to delve into that in more detail, talk about William Saliba renewing his contract, and take a look at what Gary Neville has got to say, both about Arsenal and Manchester United's opportunity of signing Harry Kane. We're going to be looking at Frenkie de Jong, the takeover, and much, much more. Hit the like, hit the share button, subscribe to the Terrace. Also, Chelsea update on Gvardoil. Let's go. Gary Jacob has stated that Mikel Arteta is planning a big overhaul this summer. They could renew their interest in Moises Caicedo, but Arsenal are confident of beating Chelsea to the signing of Declan Rice. Before we go any further, of course, hit the like button. I've mentioned subscribe, but make sure you turn on and click the bell notification so you know when we upload new content or when we go live. The algorithm, listen, there's 305 of you wonderful, brilliant people, but the algorithm is not your friend. Also, scan that QR code in the corner there for exclusive looks at the top 6 podcasts on Spotify. Make sure you're following us over there for the release of that. The link's also in the description below as well. If you can't scan the QR code, you might be watching on your phone, but click on that link now and make sure you're following us on Spotify. Arsenal are going to have an interesting summer indeed. Win or lose the Premier League title, it matters not for this summer ahead. Arsenal will be buying quality players. Moises Caicedo, in my opinion, that is a deal they should be looking at again. Xhaka and Partey are late 20s, early 30s. The fact you've got an opportunity now, Arsenal, to bring in 2 of the best midfielders in Europe, young midfielders in Europe, strike while the iron is hot. Maybe there's only enough finances for one, but with Champions League money, the Kroenkes now investing, and the selling of other assets, maybe there is an opportunity, especially with the likes of Lokonga leaving. Could West Ham, could Brighton be tempted into a player plus cash deal? But Declan Rice is the main target. Declan Rice is the one that Arsenal will go for. There's talks of Jack Wilshere being in his ear, talking to him, trying to sort of seduce him into the Arsenal four. But listen, Chelsea were always seen as the front runners, but Chelsea have fallen off the edge of a cliff. They're not going to have Champions League football next year. They may not even have Europa League football. And Declan Rice is looking for a stable club who are challenging for major honours and that will be in the Premier League and that are in London. What we also know is that personal terms, according to reports, have already been agreed. Now, these are being tempered down a little bit, and Arsenal are going to flame these down because if Arsenal kind of stoke the fire, throw petrol on the fire, and don't pump out to their media outlets that there's been no major contact between them and Declan Rice, fans are going to get excited. If fans get excited and then the deal doesn't go through for whatever reason, that is where the anger breaks out. But in my opinion, I believe the initial reports that Arsenal have made contact. Why do I believe this? Arsenal wouldn't be lining up a Declan Rice move if they had not contacted the agent, if they had not had, of course, indirect communication with the player to see whether he has a desire to join, to test how much he'd want in salary, what he'd want his squad status to be, what his desires are, what he's looking for as a football player. These are the personal terms that can be agreed upon before they're signed. It doesn't mean 100% the deal is going to go through, but football clubs do that work stereotypically before they do anything else. So for me, if I'm a Gooner right now, I'm very, very excited about this prospect. And the fact that the stories keep coming up from these different journalists, just like Gabriel Jesus this time last year, you know it is genuine. Another thing for Arsenal fans to be excited about is William Saliba. Fabrizio Romano has stated that he wants to stay at Arsenal. Arsenal are preparing to give him an important new long-term contract. And I know Gooners are just as intrigued and interested to see him tied down to a deal, Saka tied down to a deal as they are new arrivals. Those seem to be absolutely in place and motoring in the right direction. Now, speaking of Arsenal in their title race, I did want to throw this video out to you. This is Gary Neville, right? Take a little listen to this. Take a little listen to this.
Group on Sky, and obviously they know that I've nailed my colours to the mast that City are going to win the league, and I'm getting a lot of stick from Arsenal fans. But after the Villa game, I got on the group, unbelievable win for Arsenal, unbelievable win for Arsenal. I replied, it's all too desperate, too much emotion too early.
Gary Neville now starting to say maybe Arsenal can win the league. I've got more faith in them. But now stating that Arsenal celebrating wins is desperate. It's desperate to celebrate wins in the title race.
And it's interesting you say that. I know it's
Hear Pippa there in the background. What are you talking about?
It's interesting because honestly, I think I'll be right at the end of the season, but I might not be. I can understand I can understand how big a moment it was. And actually, to be fair, I didn't say this publicly, but I thought it's quite desperate.
What was the celebrations that you saw?
I think there was a lot of celebrations at the end of the game.
I think teams do that a lot.
They do.
I mean, Klopp made a big feature of it, didn't he?
Yeah, but the emotion is something that is a negative. It's not a positive for me.
So winning a game last minute is a negative. Do you want to know how you know this is bullshit? Just go and look at footage of Gary Neville. Go look at footage of Gary Neville when Michael Owen scored the winner against City at the beginning of a season in a now-biting derby with a last-minute win. They could argue it's a derby, but they celebrated like that because it was a last-minute win and nobody expected. That's what Arsenal did against Aston Villa. To suggest that it's desperate is unbelievable. And again, showing the fear, showing how scared he is, and showing his hate of Arsenal. Initially, it was stated they would, but now it's being reported that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid for Manchester United isn't prepared to match the Sheikh from Qatar's pledge to pay off all the club's existing debt. This is annoying news for Manchester United fans indeed. There will be meetings in the next couple of weeks. From including the Qataris and Sir Jim Ratcliffe with Manchester United directly to talk about their opening offers, any improvements they need to make, their plans for the football club to try and come to a conclusion over the sale of Manchester United. But it is now being reported that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will not be paying off all of Man United's debt. This is going to go down like the proverbial lead balloon with the United fans that want that debt removed and all the club's income, all the club's profit to go back into making Man United the greatest club in England. Again, investment in the men's team, the women's team, the youth team, improvements in the stadium, the training ground facilities. We do not want the money to be spent on bank fees and interest. And this has to be addressed and this has to be pushed back. Fans have got to stand up against this. I was someone that was open to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but if the debt isn't going to be removed, it is a 100% no from me. I'd rather stay as is than go through the rigmarole of a change just to have the same debt there in the first place. If the debt isn't removed, there is no point of you coming in my opinion, because that's tens of millions of pounds a year that the club is losing out on investing on the right things and banks are making profits on it. It's a big, big no, a massive no from me indeed. But viewers, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on that. In other news with Man United, big link today again to Frenkie de Jong that he'd be interested in coming back to Man United are interested in going back for him. And now there's more of an interest from the player with the club doing well, looking like it's going to be in the Champions League, Casemiro in the middle, the feel-good factor that's there, the fact that United outclassed them over 180 minutes in recent weeks. There's now a feeling that the Frenkie de Jong deal could be back on. And there's a deal that personally I would like to see happen. Everybody knows I'd love to see Frenkie de Jong at United. You put de Jong and Casemiro in the middle as the main two midfielders with backups of Christian Eriksen, Sabitzer, Fred. That for me there is a colossal top-class midfield. Of course, there is the long-term replacement of Casemiro as a DM. The club is going to have to work on that, but not in the short term. With that as a midfield unit, you're looking absolutely. It's a brilliant midfield, and you're looking stable for many years. Now, the one question that United fans are posing online, I want to get your view here on the terrace. Should United go back in for him, even though he kind of rejected us in the summer? We know why he rejected Man United. He wanted that 17 million pound deferred wages. He's received a fair amount of it, but life still isn't maybe what he thought it was going to be. The grass isn't always greener. But what is your take? Should Man United go back in for him? Should they walk away? You know, what do you believe they should do? What would be your opinion on this? There's another player, though, linked to Man United again, Harry Kane. Take a look here at what Gary Neville had to say. I want to get your opinions on this.
It gets him into the top four of this moment in time, the best league in Europe. So I think Conte should stay, and I think Tottenham should keep him. I think both ways that should work. Harry Kane's going to want to win trophies, I think. Whether he sees it as being a case whereby he commits to Tottenham for his last 5 years and he does what some players, Matt Letizia did it at Southampton. Other players have done it in the past that have played for England where they've committed to a club because they love the club and they've looked after them and it feels like there's never been that opportune moment to leave. But if Harry is going to leave, I think now's the time, now's the moment. He's a wonderful player. He's a great professional. And I think if Harry Kane could leave now and you could get him an exit out of there to a club in Manchester, probably United or City, I think he would take that opportunity. Now, it's more than likely not going to be City because of their Haaland expenditure and what they've done with him. Manchester United are desperate for a centre-forward. Tottenham fans will be furious with me. They'll say it's me coming on television trying to get their player to Manchester United. It's not. It just looks to me like, at this moment in time, the most likely move. Chelsea, I can't see him going to Chelsea, Harry, the way in which, obviously, he's quite loyal to Tottenham and there's a big rivalry between Tottenham and Chelsea. So I just don't see that happening. They do need...
And I think a lot of people would agree with Gary Neville there. And I think, look, I've been advocating for Harry Kane to leave Tottenham and talking about it publicly online for maybe 4 years now. I stand by it. I believe in it. He has to go. They're not winning the Champions League. That means no trophy this year. Is Conte even going to stay? They're not winning the league title. They're not going to win a Champions League, in my opinion. In Harry Kane's career, you look at Man United this year. The possibility of winning 3 trophies, still fighting for 4, but the real possibility of winning 3. United are back to winning trophies, and I don't think we're going to fall away again next year. You add players like Harry Kane to this Man United team with this manager, and we win more. I would personally welcome him to the football club, although there are really talented young centre forwards out there. Harry Kane's know-how, his ability to drop deep, his overall quality, his goal-scoring prowess. This could be RVP levels for Man United. The difference between challenging for the Premier League next year and possibly winning our first title in what would be over a decade. For me, I want to see it happen, but I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Chelsea have renewed their interest in RB Leipzig centre-back Gvardoil, who is also courted by Man City and Tottenham. The defender has a £97 million release clause that comes into effect in 2024. Now, this is a player Chelsea came very close to signing, very, very close to signing in the summer. They're going to go back in for him. And I have to just say this now. They're definitely interested. This is real news. This isn't no cap. This isn't any bullshit. From credible outlet, Chelsea want him. I don't see Chelsea getting him. If City want him versus Chelsea in this current moment, unless they pay the player exponentially more, sort of 100 grand, 200 grand a week more money, he isn't going to pick them. The Chelsea product will attract quality players. They still will be able to sign quality because people will believe they'll get back into the top 4 soon. But for me, by the way, Tottenham as well, no chance. If he's got a £97 million buyout clause that comes into effect in 12 months, RB Leipzig are not going to be selling him for significantly less than that now. Do I see Tottenham dropping 80, 85 million pound on a centre-back? No. If they do, I'll eat my hat, but I don't think they'll do it. This guy has got Man City written all over him, in my opinion. But I want your thoughts and I want your take on that deal. Where do you think Gvardoil will end up when he eventually leaves RB Leipzig? Before you leave, remember to scan that QR code on the screen right there in the top corner or click on the link below and follow us on Spotify for the Top 6 show that's released twice a week over there. So you can listen at your leisure. You can download it, listen in the car, listen on the train when you're out and about. Make sure you're getting that done. Before you leave here, I want your comments below. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button as well. And as I said at the beginning, turn on the notifications so you know when we go live and when we push new content out. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.